I really like South Park, and you know, I'm surprised it's held up as well as it has for so long. Despite a few ups and downs over the years, it's continued to be very well received. And with shows as popular as this, you tend to get licensed video games. South Park is no exception, most notably with 2014's The Stick of Truth, which I haven't actually played yet. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. No, the subject of today's review is the first attempt to make a game based on the property, simply titled South Park, for the Nintendo 64 and PlayStation.
Back in the 90s, the company that had acquired the rights to publish games based on the South Park license was Acclaim. Yeah, you remember them? They had a bit of a spotty track record with regard to quality. And call me crazy, but it's a little presumptuous to name yourself Acclaim. It's kind of like starting a motion picture company and calling it fucking Oscar-worthy or something. This game was originally developed for the Nintendo 64 by Iguana Entertainment, who are probably best known for creating the Turok series. And actually, that was the game engine that was used when it came time to make this game. And hey, if you're gonna make a first-person shooter based on South Park, first of all, why? And second, why wouldn't you use a perfectly serviceable existing game engine if you happen to have one lying around? The game's story begins with a comet heading towards Earth, and more specifically, South Park. Later on, the boys are informed by Chef that a bunch of crazy stuff is about to go down on account of the aforementioned stellar object. And that's about it. No, I'm not kidding. I usually go into more detail in the summary of these stories, but here, each level is just a variation on
Hello, children.
Hi, Chef.
now go fight turkeys, and
Hello, children.
Hi, Chef.
and now you're going to go fight out-of-control clones, rinse, and repeat. They never give a reason as to why a comet would cause this, and maybe that's the point, but here it just comes across as goddamn lazy. The gameplay is very much your bog standard FPS fare of the day. You start by selecting which of the 4 main characters you want to play as, and then as soon as the level begins, you're promptly told to find the 3 others anyway. Why did I just choose a character if you're gonna make me pick up the others right away? And what possible reason would the boys have for wandering away from one another when Chef just established that there was weird, dangerous shit going down? I mean, it's not like that's the stupidest possible thing that you could do in that situation.
Hey, stupid, I'm over here. Where have you been, dumbass?
Oh, lick my bag. So you wander around each level picking up weapons of varying degrees of strength and usefulness, and you kill enemies until you make it to the end.
The controls? They're great!
The default starting weapon is a limitless supply of snowballs, which fits perfectly well with the wintry setting of South Park. But somehow it also works indoors. I don't think they thought this through. Oh, and get this. There's an alternate fire mode where you pee on the snowballs, and you throw yellow snowballs. And honestly, I never even really used it. It's so much slower, you're just better off using the faster normal attack. Some of the other weapons include volleyballs, a toilet plunger launcher, because toilet plungers are always funny, right? There's a rapid-fire Nerf gun, the Warpo Ray, whose main function is to fire piranha.
Ray, a beam of radiant light or energy. Ray gun, a fucking gun that shoots rays.
There are Terrence and Phillip dolls, which act like fart grenades. I have no complaints here. There's a sniper chicken. This one is stupid, but I'll give it a pass because it's really useful. And finally, we have the cow launcher. It's like a rocket launcher, except it shoots tiny cows. I get that cows are a staple of South Park, but that's just dumb. There are a few power-ups here and there, but the majority of them just really aren't even worth your time. You'll mostly be running into boxes of cheesy poofs, which are used to replenish health. There's some sodas that speed you up, and weight gain 4000 powder which makes you invincible, but the effect is so short I was never actually able to make any use of it. There are lightning bolts that double your firing rate, but they're so rare I wasn't actually able to find any footage of them. These football pads act as armor, and finally there's Mr. Hanky, who is this game's shield. He'll dance around you leaving little poopy smears, and he'll take any of the damage that you normally would. And it's fine, except he can occasionally get in the way and actually block your shots. And honestly, it's pretty rare when it happens, but it's still one of the many baffling design choices of this game. Graphically, it really hasn't aged very well. You can definitely see its Turok lineage with the ever-present fog of war, which not only obscures your view, but it makes the town a whole lot creepier than it has any right to be. The models are passable, and you can recognize who's who and what's what, so I guess that's a positive. The sound design doesn't fare quite as well, unfortunately. The music in this game is bland, repetitive, completely forgettable, and at least to me, it just doesn't fit the series. And while there isn't a whole lot of dialogue in this game, it is fully voiced. The voices are muffled, but that's kind of understandable taking into account that this game is on a cartridge.
I'm gonna show you how to kick ass. Dude, this is great. Hey, it's my turn to kick their asses.
But next to the music, the sound effects are the weakest link. I ended up turning down the volume after a while so that I wouldn't have to hear the same fucking quips and noises repeated ad nauseum over the shitty music. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. What's worse, however, is the actual content of the game's dialogue. The South Park cast did record the voices, but right out of the gate, you can tell that Matt Stone and Trey Parker had nothing to do with it beyond that.
When I was coming home this morning, I heard a strange noise and saw an eerie green light coming from a warehouse. When I got closer to investigate, I saw Big Gay Al. He was acting mighty strange. All right, well, stranger than usual.
That's the joke.
This comes across in the writing, the story, and the design. And if you're gonna make a South Park game, the least you can do is make the damn thing funny. I counted maybe once where it managed to get an inaudible chuckle out of me. Each chapter primarily consists of one sort of enemy. For example, the entire first chapter is spent fighting evil turkeys. This is a reference to the Season 1 episode Starvin' Marvin. But since there's no real reason for the turkeys to attack you, it just feels forced. Almost like they had no real ideas of their own. It just shows the real dearth of creativity in this game, especially when you compare it to the series proper. And why the hell are the visitors attacking you in this game? Yeah, they probed Cartman's ass in the pilot, but there's no real reason for them to murder you on sight. Oh, I almost forgot. It was the Commandant made them do it. Fuck. And as I said before, the levels are generally comprised of little more than kill the things and make it to the conveniently marked finish line. And as a massive fan of the original Doom games, I know this isn't necessarily a bad way to go. The problem here is in the execution. Most levels have two main classes of enemies. You have your minions and your tanks. They even call them tanks on their health bars, and doesn't it kinda look like a placeholder they got too lazy to update? The tanks are stronger and they can spawn the minions. Most levels also contain these spinning South Park signs which signify an entrance to the town. While attacking you, the tanks are also designed to move towards the sign, and if allowed to reach it, they will disappear from the level and into South Park itself. But let me come back to that. Some of these stages require that you take out a certain number of these tanks for a door to open in order for you to advance. Why did you make the giant turkey door? You can kill them, or you can allow them to make it to a sign and cross over into town. Either way, the game will count this towards what you need to progress. The problem here is that there are a lot of these bastards, and many of them take way too many shots to take down. So I hope you saved up your ammo, or at least have a lot of patience. Not to mention that after you deplete a certain amount of their health, they'll make a beeline towards town, so you'll be forced to chase them back through the level, nipping at their heels. This is boring. Oh, and if you manage to get to the end of the stage only to be killed by a dickishly placed enemy or hazard, it's back to the start for you, my friend. Game over, do it all over again. Oh, and don't think you can just ignore each tank and allow them to reach the town. Oh no, because if you do, there will be a bonus stage waiting for you before you can proceed to the next level. Every single tank you missed will be there attacking the buildings, and it is your job to kill them before they can demolish them all. Because what we really needed here was just that extra dash of annoyance just to round things out, right? And after you fight your way through the stages, you'll take on a boss enemy that continues the theme from the chapter. Giant turkey with bullseye anus, clone blob, core of the alien ship, you get the idea. They're not particularly well designed or fun to fight. Not to mention the difficulty, which is wildly inconsistent. So you beat the boss and you get a cutscene, most of which don't really make much sense.
Man, this guy's tough. Good going, Cartman. Hey, at least he's dead.
What the hell does that even mean? When you finally make it to chapters 4 and 5, you start to see the developers try something new as far as the enemy design is concerned. And maybe this is why they hadn't done so previously. Chapter 4 has you fighting these really underwhelming killer robots, culminating in a fight with a robot being controlled by Mr. Hat.
Wait, what?
But Chapter 5 wins the gold for the most uninspired design in the game. You fight toys. No, there's no gag, and there's nothing particularly clever about it. You just fight toys. Oh, and these toys can feast from the deepest recesses of my ass. Because for how bland they are, they make up for it in being complete bullshit. The tanks for this chapter are these donkey in the boxes. What's the joke here? Jackass in the box? Is that funny? Why are they trying to sound like Jack Nicholson?
Hey, watch it! Get out of my way, son. You're using my oxygen.
I don't get it. And these things are completely non-threatening. If you stand right in front of them, they won't spawn any more of the toy minions, and they just rarely hit you with any of their attacks. And of course they take for fucking ever to take down. Just look at this. Ugh. The final showdown is with a giant Ultra Mega Man. No, not that one. And he is the most bullshit of all. Seriously though, fuck this guy. They're really unclear about where you can hit him, and when you do manage to get his health down, he runs to the back of the room like a pussy and charges it right back up. Then he starts this wacky bit where he charges at you and shoots lasers, and of course it's damn near impossible to avoid. But once he's toast, the game is over. They kill Kenny again because that shit never got old. Oh, and can I briefly point out how stupid it is for a game that allows you to save to a memory card to have finite continues? This, my friends, is utterly thoughtless game design. Hey, fuck nozzles! All I have to do is back out and reload my save, voila, infinite continues. All that serves to do is inconvenience the player slightly by making everything take just a little bit longer. And this here is emblematic of what is wrong with this game. It is lazy, and it is poorly planned. There's also a multiplayer component which many seem to hold up as the best part of the game. Based on my experience, it's just excruciatingly mediocre. You play as various unlockable characters from the series, and you use weapons from the game to kill each other until it's time to stop.
I'm tired all of a sudden. Ow! Dude, cut it out! Dad, help me!
The stages aren't really anything to write home about either. The most I can say is that it's there. A year later, the game was released on the original PlayStation. The port here was handled by Appaloosa Interactive, who are best known for developing the Echo the Dolphin games. Take from that what you will. As you may imagine, there's a very noticeable drop in graphical fidelity when moving from the powerhouse that was the N64 to the PS1. The fog is foggier, everything is jaggier and blockier, and there are a lot more glitches in this version. Huh, a flying goat. Good for him. All the cutscenes are pre-rendered this time around, but somehow they managed to look even worse. The controls also suffer in this port due to the lack of the N64's analog stick. You use the friggin' L2 and R2 buttons to look up and down. But where I thought the weakest link in the previous version was the sound, you ain't heard nothing yet. My God, I did not edit the sound at all in these clips. Just listen to this. And while the AI in the N64 original wasn't great, here it seems as though all the enemies have suffered severe head trauma. And the way they spawn is really fucking weird too. One moment there's nothing there, and then suddenly turkeys just blink into existence and attack. But with the far worse enemy intelligence, and what seems to be a whole lot less allowed on screen at once, this version ends up being significantly easier than its Nintendo 64 counterpart. Hell, the final boss in this version ends up being one of the easiest fights in the entire game. But at the end of the day, they somehow managed to make a bad game even worse.
This was not a great port. But how does the PC version hold up? Who gives a shit? I already had to play through this game 2 times for this review. I beat it twice. You know, when I first started making these videos, I promised myself that I would not become an angry video game reviewer. I don't want to be that guy. But this one was painful. I mean, it's not the worst game I've ever played. No, not by a long shot, but it's a South Park game and it's not even remotely funny. But it fails in one fundamental area most of all. It's just not any fun. Well, that review is over, but I'm far from done. 'Cause you see, Acclaim just couldn't leave well enough alone. And I guess that means neither can I. I'll see you then.
Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out my latest video. This one took a little bit longer than expected, but I hope you all enjoyed the end product. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that so you don't miss out on what's coming next. Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, or leave a comment below. Hearing your feedback really makes this all worthwhile. Thanks guys.
symbiotes fighting